Before you set a foot on your first flight, you saw what happened with Kalpana Chawla, and then she was an incredible
Yes,
woman,
absolutely.
inspiration
Great
for all
friend
of us.
and role model. Yes.
Yeah, like she was a friend of yours. She was a role model, and you saw her death. Did that event change anything you, or the way you look at death and life? Because you were taking the same kind of path, and she's a friend and she's a role model. She's the first Indian American woman to do all of these things, and you're going to be the next. So, did that change anything you about death?
I think not about death, but about the desire to explore more. I know that her and her crewmates, that was in their heart. I mean, they were doing some really fundamental science to help us with the space station and understand how the processes work, so we could do even more incredible experiments while we're up there, and then continue this fact of us being able to live for longer in space, and then how we can move on. I mean, I knew all of them, and a couple of them very well, really good friends, and not only Kalpana, but that was like what was in their heart. Dave Brown was a really good friend. Probably one of the reasons I came to NASA was because I knew him a long time beforehand, and he was one of those people who was like, "Sonny, this job is for you." And so I knew in his heart, I know in Kalpana's heart, that this is what they wanted to do. So I think it gave us even more of a feeling of like, we really want to continue this. We've got to do this in their memory. And same with Challenger. And that's why we continued to fly the space shuttle after Challenger. Like, we can do this, and we can do this better. And we're going to learn more about this. We're not going to let their, situation put a stop on it. They wouldn't want that. So we're going to press harder. And I think we all know that there's risks involved in this, but we've learned so much from each misstep. I would say we learned from Challenger. We learned from Apollo 1 first and foremost. The Russians have learned a lot of things from Soyuz issues as well. We've learned from Challenger. We've learned from Columbia. We learned from Starliner. I mean, one of I think the best things about Starliner is some of those thrusters are on other spacecraft. How do we now? We need to understand a little bit more about this and make those spacecraft better. And what are the questions we didn't ask? And we can ask those questions for the next spacecraft that we're going to fly. So it didn't scare me. It got me ready to go and happy to explore in their name.
And so when you're strapping yourself in the rocket, in that moment, are you like super optimistic, or you are going with the thought that you're prepared to die? Whatever happens, we'll take care of it.
I think we're not super optimistic and not prepared to die. Neither one of those things. I think we're ready for, it was sort of like, come on. It's like a game, right? It's sort of like at the beginning of a football match, right? And everybody's pumped up and they're ready to take on the responsibility of whatever action's going to happen, right? They're ready. I think that's how we felt, at least, Butch and I getting into, we're ready for this. We're ready. Let's go. We know what we can handle. We know what we're supposed to do. Like, let's go. Bring it on.
There's no other thought.
Yeah, no.
But you do those VR simulations, right? In that, do you see yourself maybe never coming back or doing something? Or no, you're like, just never thought?
Oh no! Like there's a VR thing that we do for this backpack that we have on the back for our spacewalks, right? That is to me scary, because there's you have to practice a little bit to figure out how to fly or with the orbital mechanics to get yourself back to the space station. And when you're learning this, for me, I wasn't a natural right from the get-go. I figured it out and I have a plan. But so the first time I did it, I think I missed the space station by like inches, and you can't do anything because you're out of gas and and you float away, and that would be bad. It left an impression on me, like you're just sitting here with goggles on and you're sweating because you're working, trying to figure out how to solve this problem, and nervous that you're going to float away, such that there's just probably 99.9% I'll never get myself in that situation. I can't say 100%, but whenever I got to a work site, a tether down, a second tether down, okay, now I can take my hands off. Like, it left such an impression that you would really never want to get yourself in that situation. Like, I don't ever want to have this happen to me. Never.
Sure.
So
the last question is, what's one question you wish people would have asked you?
So my biggest takeaway from this flight was really not there's lots of technical things that we learned, right? Like I just mentioned, that we could pass on and make the next flight better, or make the hardware better, ask the right questions, maybe do the engineering process better, right? All of that is huge lessons learned. But the biggest lesson learned is when I came back. And again, we could talk about the press and how maybe the narrative was a little blown out of proportion in my perspective, but people would be like, oh, I'm so glad you came back. People I don't know. I don't know even what country they're from. I don't know what nationality they are. I don't know what ethnicity they are. I don't know what religion. I don't know what politics they are. From all over the world, we're like, I'm so happy you're back. Welcome home. Thankfully, we were praying for you. We were thinking about you, whatever, And my overall lesson learned from this is like, people are good. People are nice. And as human beings, we care about each other. And it seems like that gets lost with a lot of distractions and noise that are going around. And we just need to listen to each other because people are good.
Does it get you overwhelmed when you talk about it?
It bums me out a little bit because I had to go through this process to see that. And that's why I keep talking about it, because I hope that other people don't have to go through a process. I hope we would just stop and listen to each other and realize how good human beings are. Yeah.
I can see your eyes getting teared up.
Yeah. No, human beings care about each other. And we forget that. And we fight over stupid things, which is unfortunate.
Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
It was an honor to speak to you.
It was fun.
It was incredibly good.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much. Then thanks to your team. You guys are very patient.